Hello and welcome to my channel on human design. So we have a good diversity of questions for this week, and I'm going to start off with the question from Iwiki, who asked about the family Penta. The question is, hi Richard, thank you for your videos. I am thinking of moving myself and my 2 daughters in with my new partner. Our family Penta has a gap under inner flow and materiality. What do we need to be aware of as a family to ensure we make a success of living together? Or what no gaps mean? Thank you. So, Iwiki, thank you for your question. And for those of you who want to take up the opportunity to get my new app at humandesignrave.com, you will see all the Penta Gates described, among lots of other things, both business and family and transits and partnerships and everything else. And it's a very reasonable price. So do check that out. It's well worth it. So with the 5th gate missing, there is no daily flow of regular habits being created. You know, if you had the 5 in there, then people can be together in a cohesive pattern within a functional time flow. So what you're likely to find out that will become an issue. Like, you know, people don't do things when you want them to do it, and they want you to do things when you don't want to do it. And, you know, trying to fix people to a particular time, but not being able to. The power to do that isn't there. The cohesive pattern that will hold the family together in these daily or weekly patterns of behavior or rituals or habits or coming together to do things is not going to be so easy for you. So there's likely to be recriminations about timing, and no steady flow is going to be there. With the 14th gate missing, there is going to be a financial issue, probably. In other words, are you managing your finances well? Probably not. Is there going to be enough money for the things that are needed for the family, for example? So finances will again become an issue. Whenever there is a gap, it becomes an issue in the Penta. What to do about it? Well, have a friend come round that has those 2 gates, you know? Be aware that it's going to be an issue. Be aware that it's something that the family itself is not going to focus on. So basically, awareness is all I can bring to you. But to be honest with you, you know, most families are not reliable pentas, are not functional pentas. So to only have 2 gates missing isn't too bad. So on the bright side of things, those are the issues. They're the things that are going to come up, as you will see. And you simply need to be aware of them and realize that it's nobody's fault, that it's just a mechanical truth of the Penta dynamics that come about when you are together. So thanks for the question. Good to start off with something new there. Thank you. Our next question is from our Daily Challenges 174. And their question is, I'm a 2/4 generator and I have a fully open throat. What I found out is that when I talk to someone, I happen to tell stuff they need to hear. About 99% of conversations end up to a point where the person next to me says, funny you mentioned that, because... So that's perfect. That is the open throat working correctly. The open throat is there to pick up what needs to have attention drawn towards it. And as a completely open throat, you have no particular agenda on that. You have no particular filter on the throat. The problem becomes if you start a conversation, you don't know what to say or when to stop, and it just goes on, and it can be irrelevant to the present situation. But working correctly, you're scanning all manifestation of what has been done, of what has been said, of what has not been said, that needs to be said. And it's at that moment when you feel the tension in the throat and out it comes, according to what is happening around you. That's when it can be spot on. So yeah, good observation. And if you're correct, very true. Good to point that out. Thank you. The next question is from Marco Polo. And their question is, hi, Richard, I'd like to ask about a completely open spleen with no activations at all. What are the challenges and opportunities in a design like this? Well, Marco Polo, the open spleen means that there is a certain vulnerability there in the body, in the mechanics of human design. It points out and it says, look, this isn't someone who can easily process toxins. So the challenges are that you're going to be taking stuff into the body that you can't digest, that you take in the side effects of any pharmaceuticals. You can't process toxins easily that come in. So you got to look after your health is basically what it's saying. And in that wisdom, I often see very good health practitioners who can really connect to what is going on at a physical level with the people around them. So they can easily tune in, you know, because they are picking up the toxins, they are picking up where things are off in other people. So as a wisdom, as a diagnostic in terms of health, it can be incredibly useful. The other thing that would be useful for your own health is to remember, detox or die, you know, find a way to detox, have a maintenance program where you are detoxing. You know, if you can afford it, or if you can get in infrared panels or a sauna to really get the toxins out, to sweat them out, to keep this renewal process going, to help yourself get rid of toxins, would be very good. And the same will go for looking after yourself in terms of the EMF frequencies and the ongoing web of electromagnetic interference that is happening in a lot of the, in fact, in all of the Western cities and elsewhere. So it's worldwide now. Protecting yourself from that, mitigating their effects, I would strongly advise. Whether that be through a Faraday cage or Faraday material, whether it be through finding devices to get your modem to be filtered through something that will reduce the electromagnetic interference, these kind of things are going to be useful. So also in terms of the sense of vulnerability, because, you know, again, coming back to the challenges, there is no awareness in the now. So things that happen suddenly, like a loud sound or something that's going on, it can be, you know, what's that? Because you can be quite oblivious to your surroundings without the spleen. So there is always this sense of not feeling safe and sometimes not feeling warm. So, you know, to have layers that you can put on when you feel chilly. Another challenge would be getting involved with codependent relationships because you don't feel safe, because you don't have the everyday awareness, because you can imagine all kinds of terrors out there that may not be real. So to be aware of that, you know, to be able to stand up for yourself no matter what relationship you're in, and to understand that actually when you do pay attention, you can be very aware of what's happening in the now if you are paying attention, but it won't be a mechanical thing. It'll be something that will involve your active participation. The spleen is also a center of fear of, will I survive in the now or whatever? But it can also be fearlessness if you've got an open spleen. You know, you can be terrified or not afraid at all when you should be because it's dangerous. So to be aware of that, to be aware of maybe listening to others if you're going, you know, full on into something that they're going, no, you know, listen to the spleens when necessary. So those are just a few tips. And the main one is detoxing. The main one is finding your homeopathic pills and potions and your acupuncturist and your various body workers that you need to help clean out the body, keep the body clean, eating food that is healthy for you. Okay, I hope that's been useful. Thanks for the question. Next question is from Qis, who sends me some wonderful questions. And this one is on the 3420. She says, some random and interesting notes on the 3420. Michael Jordan, left angle cross of industry. Kobe Bryant has the 2. Both were celebrated for their insane work ethic, but most, I guess, wouldn't understand. They're literally built for this purpose, sport. Plus genetics, of course, i.e. another gifted and talented athlete wouldn't be able to reach such extreme levels without the 3420 motor in such a prominent position. I've also seen amongst many others with the 3420 that they always fall asleep instantly, but I'm guessing wake up whenever the motor is up, regardless of how many hours they slept. Care to share any extra wisdom on the 3420, knowing you also have it? Well, Qis, yes, I do have it, and I have it unconsciously. I have it in lines that are dissonant with my profile, the 2 in the 34 and the 5 in the 20. So it's something that I am unaware of, and yet at the same time, other people will see me, will look into me, and will expect things from me because of the lines that I have. It is the busy channel. It is energy in manifestation all the time, the only manifesting generator channel. And yes, it's very powerful. The 34th gate is the most powerful sacral energy one can have. But it needs to be busy. It has to do stuff. So yeah, I get up in the morning ready for whatever the day is. You know, let's see what I'm going to encounter today. There is this, and I've got a left body. There is this active part of me that needs to be busy, needs to be in something, needs to use my physical energy as well as my mental energy throughout the day, because it's so satisfying to do it. Remember, the 34 is always about satisfaction. And in the individual quality in this, it's about really enjoying what it is that you do. To do what you love and be busy in it, this is heaven for a charisma channel. Without the 57, however, it can be quite oblivious to its impact that it makes. So again, there is a difference. Bear in mind, it is a raw energy coming out. And in that sense, it can be pretty destructive as well. You know, I have it in momentum. You know, once I'm moving, once I'm in action as a left body, get out of my way. You know, I'm in momentum. This is not an easy thing to stop. Oh, you know, you let us get on with our work, everything is good. You get in the way, it's not good. That is something that becomes unbearable. Not that I've had that much in my life for as long as I can remember, because I do know this and I do love to do what I love to do. So using that energy, using it, being busy. And yeah, we don't need much sleep. And again, it will depend. If you have the charisma and you have the will, then you're going to need to have more rest because of the will. If you're emotional, then there is also this extra energy that will move in its waves. You know, and that can also affect when you want to work or what you work on, depending on the mood. But in its raw, simple quality, it is just being busy and being able to do more than most people can do, because we are built for it. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous how much work I get involved with and how much I do to other people. But to me, of course, I don't recognize it. I'm in it. I do it. Things get done, on to the next thing. You know, I like to complete things too with the 42. So it's a very powerful energy because it can do so much. Despite being basically there to do what you love, it can have a lot of beneficial effects on other people because things do get done. And that can be helpful for others. Although that isn't the main aim. The main aim is just to do what you need to do, just to do what you respond to do. The main point of it is just to, you know, follow your response in the doing and see how that works for you. And if you're doing that, then it works really well and a lot gets done. So I hope those few words will be helpful for those of you who have charisma and those of you who are curious about it. Thanks for the question, Curious. The final question is on visibility or invisibility from a projector. So this is a question from Als, and she says, visibility versus invisibility and the need to not be noticed. Hi, Richard. I was passing by the train station today during a busy hour, and I was thinking that if I was wearing more eccentric clothes, probably I would draw a lot of attention there in the crowd, and that would be very uncomfortable. As a projector, sometimes I would like to try more colorful and pretty clothes, for example, but I feel it would draw more attention to me in public, or maybe it wouldn't, but I feel like it would. So I end up wearing more neutral colors and neutral styles of clothing. So before I go on to the rest of the question, I just want to say that, you know, the eccentric and more colorful clothing largely depends on what the whole chart is, especially what's in the G. So if you naturally want to wear more conservative colors, that may be absolutely correct for you according to your chart. So just bear that in mind. It's not that if you're feeling uncomfortable wearing more colorful clothes, then this isn't a place to go. I mean, after all, a projector needs to be recognized for who they are. That's the right kind of invitation. So if you're putting on more colorful clothes to be noticed and it doesn't feel comfortable, don't do it. It may be mechanically correct that it's not going to suit you. So now the rest of the question. So on this topic of attention, I would like to ask, are the combinations of profile, type, authority, gates, etc., that are naturally more visible, invisible? Are the people that are more visible, but that actually need to not draw much attention to feel comfortable? And are the people that are more invisible, but actually need to draw more attention to be more comfortable? And what would these people need to meet their needs of attention? And lastly, what gates and maybe lines with the strongest power to draw attention to the person? And what are the gates that naturally make the person more low profile, if any? Gosh, what a question. What a question. So firstly, when we're talking about drawing attention, the easiest way to draw attention is going to be through the throat center. That's what it's about, you know. So open throats will, if they're correct, will draw attention to what is appropriate. And if they're incorrect, will draw all the wrong kind of attention because they want to be noticed. So what is said and what is done is one way to draw attention. And whether it's appropriate or correct depends on the situation and the person. When it comes to invisibility, I reckon the 1-3 profile are people that can kind of move through the crowds without drawing too much attention to themselves. Because after all, they are very self-absorbed, you know, and the aura isn't really going out to people. They're very in their own thing. So that's one thing I will say. And if you're looking at profile, you know, the 5s and the 2s are probably going to be drawing more attention. The 5s because of the projection, you know, the expectations of the 5th line, you know, the stranger of consequence. Well, yeah, they're going to draw more attention and they may not like it. And the same for the 2nd line, as people can see into them some of the gifts that they are unaware of themselves. And they may not like being noticed in that way either. So what I would say generally is, like, you know, whatever your design is, you've got to be comfortable in your own skin. You know, as a projector, you want to be, you know, recognized for you. And therefore, any attempt to draw attention unnaturally, according to some idea of, you know, people will look at me if I wear this or if I say this, it's probably going to lead to not a good outcome, is what I would say. And again, you've got to see that we mix in auras. So for example, if there's any non-sacral, they are going to pick up on the energy sources around them in the people around them. So when they're, you know, really desperate for energy, what will draw their attention is probably a manifesting generator that they may not know, you know, but they're there, they can feel the energy, they may want to share the table with that person or sit nearby them for energetic reasons. And this brings me to the point that in this world there seems to be a lot of people, you know, it's a tragedy really. There's a lot of people out there that want to be noticed, want to be special, and they do things to their bodies and their hairstyle and their clothing, you know, in order to be noticed. But then, you know, people are going to notice them probably for the wrong reasons. You know, they may wear very extravagant clothing, and then when you come to speak to them, it's like, well, it's completely inappropriate to who this person really is. It's not a good fit. So the whole point of human design is for us to come back to our nature. So making an issue out of how to draw attention isn't particularly useful. And these days, having to stand out against all the different shows of weirdness that is out there, it's all become a bit too much, and a lot of it is false. A lot of it is insecurity. A lot of it is being scared and trying to protect yourself by, you know, wearing certain things, dressing in a particular way. And you've also got to consider, you know, what will draw attention to some will not draw the attention of others. So, for example, those with strong individuality in them, you know, they're going to notice the creativity, the beauty, the eccentricity of the first gate. You know, a very, very bright gate, you know, an unusual gate. So that is something that can draw attention of many, but especially for the individual, they will appreciate it. They will appreciate the difference. As a projector, you're here as a guide. So rather than think about how can I draw attention to myself, it's about what do you recognize in the others where your guidance, you know, can be of great benefit to them. Then the invitation can come from the other to ask you or to bring you in, to allow you to make a comment. They go, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. I need to bring them on board. You know, it's your guidance. You know, it's whether it's going to fit, it's going to be a good fit with you and them, whatever it may be. That's what you want to get recognized for. And then it doesn't matter what you wear, because you're recognized for what you're here for. That's what I would say to you. But also, as a projector, there is, when a projector is really on form, happy in themselves, doing their thing, you know, they can shine. You know, people are generally going to see the projector coming in the room because of the way that they are, because they know to, most of them know to take care of their appearance, because, you know, they're looking at others and they think other people are looking at them, and often they are. So I wouldn't overdo it, and I wouldn't try to amplify it. Just be yourself is the advice I can give you. So it's a really big question, and it's really an analytical question. You know, it's like if I have a chart in front of me, then I can talk about it in detail and in accuracy and preciseness. But generally speaking, I mean, you know, what draws one's attention? It depends, you know, what you're looking for. You know, when I was looking for a good chiropractor, and I was looking at different videos, there was one who was filming some of his teaching practice, because he teaches other practitioners, and the way that he moved and the succinctness of every action, that's what attracted me to that particular chiropractor. And I got his chart, and sure enough, he's a very logical being. You know, his movements, his actions are clean and clear and precise. And if you're going to have someone working on you in a chiropractor way, then that's kind of what I'm looking for. So that's going to draw my attention, the way he moves his body, the way he teaches, the preciseness. But if I'm not looking for that, then it could be something else. It could be, well, let's look at something beautiful that will attract my attention because of the way that I'm made. The 8 looking to the 1, the 14 looking to the 2. So again, you've got to see it's not as simple as what gates, what lines. We can't really, this can lead to generalization, because each one of us is different. And in different stages, we're looking for different things. We're open to pay attention to that is pertinent to us at that particular moment, at that particular time in our life. And as life goes on, things that would have drawn our attention are no longer relevant, no longer interesting, whatever it may be. So again, just be yourself, just be yourself. That's the whole point of human design, and the right kind of attention will become apparent. So as a projector, rather than to get lost in the see me view, and, rather just be yourself. Just relax about it. If you're comfortable in your own skin, if you understand that your aura is the most precious thing that you have, you don't want to be drawing attention for people that don't fit with you. You want to take care of your auric integrity. You really do. All of us do, whatever the type. It's for others to pay attention to you when they can pick up something in you that is relevant to them. So as a projector, you have to, wait for the invitation from you just being yourself. That's what I would say. In terms of types drawing attention, well, I mean, manifestors, when you think about types, can also draw people's attention, because of their closed and repelling aura. And, people cannot penetrate through that inner shield that they carry with them. And they do initiate, and they do make an impact on others by what they say and what they do. So I love the way you want to try to get down to the mechanics, but it's too broad-based for me to say more than what I've already said. But thank you for the question. I hope it's been useful, got me to think about various things in different ways. I appreciate that. And if you appreciated this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back again next week with something completely different. Bye for now.